what you find in organizations or in the corporate world is everything that happens is identified with your work. So if you are a performer, it's very easy to be identified. And I always say talent is talent. And maybe also having been in a sales job, I believe that numbers don't lie. You either have the numbers or you don't have them. But this is basically determined on how good a performer you are. If you are a star performer, you are easily identified, and a lot of people would want to assist you to not to give you the job on the silver platter, but to help you grow along the way. Remember, I said you need to take full ownership and responsibility, because you can be presented with an opportunity, but because you have not prepared yourself thoroughly, that opportunity can slip your way, and you would lose that one opportunity that you have to grow into what you want to become. So it's always important that you are talent to start with. You are a hard worker. You do not give excuses for your failure. Failure is not a person, it is an event. And so it's important that you understand that when I fail the first time, there are always key learnings. And I will pick up on those key learnings and ask myself, how do I do it better the next time if I am presented with a similar opportunity? So I have failed in my lifetime, in my career time. It's not that every job that I have wanted, I've picked it. I have failed, but I have learned to understand what could have led to the fail in that event, because it's a series of events. So I'm not a failure as a person, but the events didn't tie up accordingly. That's very important, because then you take ownership and pick up again and start all over again to build into creating series of events that will eventually land you where you want to be.
Pastor, a near-death experience or trauma or depression, or just, as Nonge put it, the rug being pulled from beneath your feet. You land on the ground. You realize when you get up, because you're praying to get up, you pray for a change. It would have been pointless to have been given a second chance and do the same thing. It would have been pointless. I thank God for the second chance, because in the 3 years of silence, I was able to hear him say, there's much more than just me. So I want to raise a generation of women that can embrace their feminism, that can understand that they can be a woman and still be somebody in today's world. I want to raise women to have options. I don't want the rural child to just get married, which is what I see a lot, or teenage pregnancies because of poverty. I want her to believe she can be anything. If she chooses to be a homemaker, it is her choice. I just want to create choices, and I find that education gives us those choices.
Then people start making other choices. So I was fortunate to be there. So
you were very privileged to learn that. What did that education do for you as a woman leader in agri, as an agronomist?
So being in the UK for studies to start with, because that was a completely different setup with different cultural and beliefs. So already for me, that actually just boosted my belief that a woman is able to do anything, because that was different. I saw more women there. In our class, we had
wonderful. So out there were more women than
the men.
You knew.
Yeah, because in our class,
really?
in our class, we were actually more women than we actually had.
Why do you think that was? Why was it so different out there, and the culture here is totally different?
With most of the ladies that I was with in class, they were coming from farming backgrounds.
want them to speak about you. And in leadership, it's very important because remember I said somebody somewhere is watching all the time. And so at that particular moment, you must be upright to know that it's either a bad story I'm writing or a good story I am writing. And very important that you hear what people say about you in your absence. Because if you've got a sponsor, they're going to be promoting you somewhere else where you are not. So then they are dropping good things into ears that are very important for you to progress from where you are today to somewhere else.
Can you expand on that word sponsor?
So
because the word sponsor in the Zambian parlance is looking for somebody to give you money. And people say, I don't have a sponsor.
Money.
Are you referring to sponsor in that light?
No.
Or you're referring to people that believe in you and see a potential and they make the circle bigger for you because they enter spaces because they trust your work ethic, your values, your discipline, your determination. They see it and they say, let's help this person. But what is sponsor to you? Because somebody is watching and say, yes, it's true. You know, I don't have a sponsor. I don't have a father. Is that what you're alluding to? What is sponsor in your debate, in your discussion, in your life?
So I will refer having a sponsor in the context of your earlier point. So when we're talking having a sponsor, remember, as a leader or as an individual, not just a leader, because individuals, you are learning to get to where you want to be to start from. And it's a journey that you are walking. You need to identify yourself with three things. The first thing is who you are. The second thing is find a mentor. The third thing is find a sponsor. So I'm going to elaborate more on these points.
But then now I realize with life, I fell back to what I was taught. I fell back to on my knees. I fell back and I was taught whatever happens in life, always get up. We were taught that. And they gave us waking up early hours for mass every day at 5 a.m. I think it taught you start your day early. So that is something that I carried on.
Structure, discipline.
Yes, you said it, structure and discipline. And that structure and discipline carried on throughout my life. And I think that is what shaped me. Whatever decision I have made going forth in my life, I can see falls back to my upbringing.
Your upbringing.
My parents, Sister Catherine, like I said.
Welcome again to Life and Leadership Lessons Learned from Our Leading Ladies. We did miss yesterday because we had a very urgent issue that we had to bring. Africa Unite Summit started today, awesome work going on, but we thought that we needed to prioritize Africa even when we come back today to continue learning. Today is a wonderful day, brilliant day. We didn't finish with Inonge and with Nawina the other day, so we have brought them back because they had so much to say and we want to squeeze everything out of them. And today we have other three ladies. We didn't talk about Chilufi and going Yorinda so much the other day, but there were so many life lessons learned. And we have this awesome panel of people to join me today to look at it. The boss woman is there and she will introduce the other two. She's a boss, isn't it? Let's talk to, what's her name again? Kasongo. Hi Kasongo, how are you?
Good evening.
They've missed you on television.
Good evening, Pastor J.
How are you
doing today?
Cool.
You just had to put it out there.
I did? I don't even know.
Well, today is another beautiful night.
What's happening with this hair? Every day the hair goes shoop, shoop. Chinese movie.
Millennials.
Millennials, okay.
It's moving with the time.
It's moving with the time. Okay.
So today we have a very beautiful panel. very beautiful women, a lot of wisdom, a lot of big words.
You remember?
So,
did you bring the dictionary today?
I'm ready.
I love her when she talks English. Ooh, it is real English, not you.
I am nothing compared to these beautiful women. I will allow them to
Each and every. Okay.
We're not doing that anymore.
Okay.
Every.
Okay.
So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's just lovely to have you back, and your wisdom and everything that you bring out is just awesome today. And you as well. Oh my God. We're not even gonna start. I don't even want to say anything because everything I say is wrong to Pastor Jose.
No. This is the person you should follow now.
Yes,
follow her.
She has set the pace indeed. So thank you very much for being on our panel today. And as we begin, I just want to keep the ball running. And today we're going to exhaust and bring out every detail from the women that we did profile. So we're going to set the pace with Chilufya Ngoi,
Yes.
who we didn't do a lot of justice to before. And the life lesson that I pulled out from her story is her persistence. Really, she works in insurance. I was a sales rep for insurance. I think my first gap year when I left school, and it's not an easy job. Being female in that sector and pushing is not hard because it's literally like you're going to sell goods to somebody. You're going to convince somebody to buy insurance, and people don't want to do that. So you have to be able to bring yourself out and really sell. And what I got from her story is that a lot of women, when they get there, they forget what it is that they're selling, which they're supposed to be selling the insurance, but they tend to sell themselves. So she says she rose from that, and she knew what her value was even as she was pursuing that. And that for me just blew it, because I know what that space is like, and it's not an easy space. So that for me, big ups to Chilufya Ngoi. She's a strong woman and she's really worked her way up. Yeah. So I don't know for you.
For me, Chilufya was one of my favorites, and she was like a packet of dynamite. She had all this potential, and it was like she couldn't wait to grow up and explode.
Yes.
What I really liked about her contribution was where she talked about facing life and facing whatever endeavor she went through with a strategy. She had a very scientific approach. She first talks about she knows what the goal is, she knows what the target is, she knows what she wants to be, she visualizes it, actualizes it in her mind. She already knows what is at the end of the road. And then she looks at herself and says, I need to know myself. I need to know what my limitations are. And then she has these values and ethics that were instilled in her from her childhood, socialization and all that. So she's this entity going on a journey. She has a trajectory, and then she says,
and that's something that comes out a lot for her. It's like she's
already focused. And then she says, now you need the tools to go. So she says, you understand your space. So she looked at her industry, studied the industry, understood what it was, what it needed for her to maneuver through. And she talked a lot about education. She said she needed to inform herself, equip herself with knowledge, understand her environment, make herself adaptable and relevant for where she was. And then on that journey, she says, then you watch out and look for people who went before you, so that you ask them for guidance, you ask them for help, you learn from them, watch what they do, see how they, how they did things before, and get, experiences from them. And then identify also a mentor and a sponsor, because these are the people who, they'll say, your journey is different, but it's similar things we're after. I can give you a hand, I can give you tips for you to go, but I'm going to usher you and encourage you where you need strength and where you need wisdom, and get tips from me because I have the experience. So she carries all this whole package with her, and then she says, now I can go. The rest is up to you as the individual, because now you've built a certain kind of character. She says you need a certain kind of character for a certain kind of place. So how
it's like you got every word she said.
Yeah, because I memorized literally what she talked about. So she soaks in all this, and then now it's you, the person, to work the thing. And it wasn't difficult for her. You could tell it was like she was just waiting. Okay, next, another challenge. I like challenges. Out of the way. Next. She was equipped. She was focused. She was determined. She didn't look left, right. Her eye was on the prize. I love her.
And she just went. Yeah. And for you, what did you pick up from Chilufya?
Well, first of all, good evening once again, Pastor Jay. I'm deeply delighted to be with you today. Kasongo, definitely I'm very, very excited. It's an opportunity for me to delve deep into the different characters, different players, and different aspirations of life. Coming to Chilufya Ngoi, I picked out some specific aspects that are, I think, required for one to succeed in whatever it is they embark on. What I noted was her attitude to failure or setbacks, which are inevitable in life. Anything worthwhile will always have some form of obstacle to get to it. Now, this is where attitude towards failure and delayed gratification will determine whether you can stick it to the end. And you have to have a positive attitude, which he mentioned. You do not have to take failure in a particular event to be final, but to always assess what went wrong in this particular event, and to be able to draw lessons and to be able to plan better. She also brought out preparedness. Just about everything in life requires preparation, whether it's your school, whether it's your faith. We need to prepare for the coming of the Lord. We need to prepare to be able to take up leadership positions. It doesn't just fall like a ripe plum on your lap. No, you need to be working purposely towards a particular goal. I noticed, I picked also that she talked about performance, being able to deliver in whatever task you are given, and that it shouldn't be easy to dispute what you've been able to attain. Like she said, numbers do not lie. Let your results in life speak for themselves.
That's true.
I also took note when she talked about your sponsor, people who would be able to vouch for your character, your worth, where you are not present. That is very important in life. How do people perceive us? How do people rate us? What is the confidence people place in us? And when they are asked where you are not present, what is it they would say? And in any setting that you can imagine, whether social, whether professional, we are always put on trial. And that is the moment of truth. Have you managed to build a brand that commands confidence? And that then ties in with excellence. We need to strive in life to be able to come to a point where people can put their mouth where their money is. They can put their money where their mouth is. They can count on you for particular things in life. Then you have succeeded. You have won people's confidence. I also took note of mentorship that she talked about. It shines the light on the importance of the baton passing in this life. Being able to carry other people and bring them up to speed. and that to succeed, people have to be mentored by those that have gone before them, so that they are able to get to, a place where they are also steady. Given the support, given sponsorship, any woman can succeed. I think that's pretty much in the main what I picked from Chilifia's.
I don't know for you, Pastor Jay, what was your highlight from Chilifia's story?
Everything. Everything was my highlight.
That was a problem.
So everything about Chilifia is a highlight. I really enjoyed seeing her life coming from a place where her father really encouraged her and showed her a lot and made her realize that she can be anything, really. The father really was her rock. But you see, oftentimes people, when challenges happen, and when her father left, sometimes the things you think are bad may be the things that actually make you become. And probably if her dad was there, you remember she said she owned land even before then, and says you're a landlord. Probably if everything was rosy, I don't know, would we have the same person today? But her pain and her scars birth this fabulous woman she is, and very humble as well. It's just so what I'll just take out, apart from what these awesome women have given us, is failure is not fatal. You are not a mistake. You failed, but you are not a failure. And she said that, and she explained that if you made a mistake, stand up. It's a mistake. Get on with it. You are not a mistake. And I wish that every woman would have that as their mindset. I like what we said, her attitude. Her attitude is not just then, her attitude seems to be improving every day. And she has told you, I want to conquer the region. I'm seeing big. I'm not even where I'm at now. I'm seeing big. So that was important. So you see, I'm saying a lot of things. So back to you. But Chilufia has been really, the most beautiful thing about her, I think, is that she's still very young. So Zambia is yet to see the best out of that woman. She's still very young. And she tells you, to the young people out there, which she benefited. She says, somebody's around you that will change your life. Somebody's watching your ethics, your work ethic, your values. Somebody's watching the way you bounce back. Somebody's watching you. Somebody that is able to change your life is watching you. And work it out. Like Nono said, work it out.
And talking about somebody is always watching, Sheila from ACO did actually allude to that. She said, whatever it is that you do, remember, whether you're doing it in secret or in the open, somebody is always watching. So you should be able to work with that in your mind, so that you don't make mistakes, you don't do deliberate actions that will put you in a place where you are doubted. And another thing that I loved about Sheila is she's literally a plant whisperer, like a whisperer, like
she's a whisperer.
Like Pastor spoke about. She says she loves her plants. When she goes into the farm, she's speaking to the land. She's talking to the plants, and that's something that most of us Christians like to overlook. The power of what you have in your tongue to speak to things, and they begin to happen. And she says she walks into that garden, she walks into that farm, and she says, "Plant, why are you not giving fruit? What's wrong with you?" And that's also something that Zalomis actually did speak about. And we overlook these things because they look superficial. They look like they're too churchy, too spiritual things. But speaking into, even just speaking to your life and speaking into that particular space doesn't have an impact. And that's something that I took from Sheila. And I don't know for you.
For me, Sheila, just her wholeness impressed me. She was very subtle but strong with who she was, and even with her delivery. And what I admired is her staying power. She found something that she liked. She found something that she was interested in, and she said, this is what I will concentrate on, and I'll develop this craft. And you know, when you're doing what you chose, what you selected, and it was birthed from your desire, and when you apply yourself, you can only get better, because that's where your passion is. You don't need to be reminded to research on it, to develop it, to compare it with what other people are doing in the same industry. You just keep looking for new ways and you start developing initiatives because you love what you're doing. I love the fact that she went into agriculture, stayed there, and just kept on looking for ways to stretch herself, improve herself, educate herself. She kept going for further studies. And she comes back, and what is she now? She's the veteran because she stayed with what she loved at an early age. And with age comes wisdom, and with that wisdom you're able to develop your craft. And today she's the go-to person. And that's a lesson that I think a lot of people don't grasp very well. When you have something, and I'll say this for a lot of young people, when you find something in your youth, when you're very young, and that's the thing that you can wake up at 5 o'clock for, that's the thing that you would do without being paid, where your heart is, try and stick with that thing and make it work for you.
Grow it,
because 10, 20 years down the line, it will birth into something beautiful, into something big, and you will be the veteran, the person, the expert that everyone goes to, because that's what you've been living your whole life.
And I like that aspect that you just brought out, because most times as young people, we don't want to stick to something because we say, oh, it's taking too long. You can't wait that long.
Yeah.
But you see a level of expertise when you grow in that particular field, and that's what you see from Sheila.
Yes.
She's very confident about what she does.
Yeah.
And this is also something that Pastor Jay brought out as she spoke to her. When we look at agriculture in our space in Zambia, it's something that was taught to us. You'd go do agriculture at school and you're punished. They take you to the garden when you've done wrong. So the picture in our mind, yes, is that when you farm, you're a bad person or you're poor. And that's exactly the notion and the narrative that she and Kalongo are trying to change. And I just love that about them.
And they're making it attractive.
Yes, and I went to that farm and wanted to be a farmer.
Attractive. It's like the way Brenda Montemba made being a policewoman hot.
Yes.
Now you have girls from different
wanting
to be a police lady because they packaged it and marketed it so well. It was appealing, and they're looking at working the land and they're making it look like it's something to look forward to. Yes.
Like I was saying, I literally went there and I was, did I choose the right career? I should have gone to agriculture and been a farmer. You want to do things like that when you see them in that limelight. Yeah, and that's something that was just beautiful for me.
Well, coming to Sheila, similarly, I think what I picked is the importance of finding your path early on in life. The sooner that you find your path, the greater the chance you stand to be able to become an expert. Simple as. Sticking with one line of work, getting to know it like the back of your hand. Also, what I picked was how you should learn from each and every environment you are put in. She talked about her stay in the UK, her studies and so forth. What she was able to note and to appreciate as different from Africa. So also in the development of a woman leader is wherever you get an opportunity to study, take a note, see what can work better in your own country. And I believe that did help her shape her mindset and to know that maybe agriculture should not necessarily be only a man's pursuit, and also to be able to revolutionize agriculture, which is the mainstay of any economy, really and truly. So she can take the prize for turning around how agriculture presents, how it is viewed, and like you said, the not so attractive view of agriculture, which was seen as a mundane, last resort task, peasant farming and so forth. She's managed to turn that around. So that definitely in Africa is, breaking new ground. She's been able to redefine something that drives every country, community's stability. And that definitely is very, very remarkable. Very, very remarkable. I picked that she's not conventional in her thinking. She's a person who knows how to overcome, say, fixed mindsets.
Yes.
And to be able to be a trendsetter, which definitely is very critical if you have to be a leader.
Yeah. And Pastor J, I know you like the agriculture space. It's when you speak about agriculture, you speak with so much passion. And this is something that I saw even from the interviews. You were speaking to Sheila and Kalongo and Zalomes. You understand sort of like the plant biology that goes behind it. What was this interview for you?
The interview shows us, for me, the interview shows the opportunity we have in agriculture and the transition from agriculture to agribusiness, and moving from manual farming to mechanized farming. We need to come to that place. They showed, looking at the site, you see the Internet of Things in everything they're doing. So when are we going to make that move? But the most important thing is seeing female role models, seeing an agronomer who is holding her own, who has gone to the best schools. And people don't know that she started from
NRDC.
Not NRDC. She came from Howard, the compound.
Oh, John Howard.
John Howard compound. That's where. So she says, if I have a village, that's my village. That's where I grew up. So if a woman like that can come from very humble beginnings, and she was encouraged to be around her father who was into agriculture, but into the mechanics of it, and the role modeling, and she's now a leader. So when you go in that farm, technically it's a woman's brain behind it. The whole architecture of the place is by a woman. It's beautiful. That place is beautiful. Particularly where you start from nothing and you see a woman create that. Then the technical mind behind it is women. That is beautiful. So it becomes, people like that become a role model to younger women, say can be done. And to know that they are working towards getting women empowered on the tractors to use mechanized agriculture, I think that was beautiful. What I see in Sheila that I think for me, beyond what she said, is that you can carry yourself. You can become. She's a very focused woman. She's a woman that has worked hard for where she has come. She has gone abroad and she says, look, education gives women choices. I went abroad and I realized that my horizon opened and I saw women running farms. And I saw women coming to, do what generally here we would say is not done by women.
Yes.
So when you see a person like that coming to talk to you, that is beautiful. She said, education made me realize a woman is able to do anything. So while she was here, before she went to school, and she earned a scholarship, she must have been good to earn a scholarship from the most prestigious school she got into. She says, when I went out, my horizon opened, and I realized a woman can do anything, can become anything. Yeah. That is beautiful. But like we said earlier, you find that it is good to know your purpose from when you are young. She knew I wanted agriculture. We had a lot of that. You saw Sarah say, I knew I wanted to be a carpenter. You saw all those coming out. She knew her purpose. She dedicated herself to that. And today she is a leader in Zambia, in the agriculture, in the agribusiness sector.
Yeah.
So that's what I saw, as you asked for me. So for me.
And I want us to go to a very emotional story. I feel every story was special. Every story was really heartfelt. The story of Mangala Lethbridge. Wow. This woman, she just went, you could tell.
She's a superstar.
She's a superstar indeed.
For me, she's a superstar. And I think they should make a Zollywood, not Nollywood or Bollywood.
A Zollywood movie out of it.
A Zammiwood.
Yes.
Blockbuster.
And
So
how
we should
she told
connect
it
the
like
dots.
that.
Maybe get Catherine to come and talk to her. They need to make a movie. It will beat every movie on the Oscars. Her life is...
I hope Catherine is listening today.
I hope so. And I hope
Please.
Mangala is listening so that she says, yes,
Let's do the movie.
let's do it.
And how she told the story. I don't know for people who are watching, but I put myself in her place and I literally envisioned and saw everything she went through. This is a woman who had a high life. She was happy. She was a biker.
Don't forget, high life is successful life.
Yes.
She worked hard.
She worked hard.
So when you say high life, somebody's thinking, no. She worked hard.
She worked hard.
She got clients. She lived she deserved
went to
that
school.
life. She went to school and excelled.
Yeah.
She has a portfolio of clients that gave her. You could see from the beginning. She said, until the accident, she didn't realize she was more out doing her work than in at home.
Yes.
You know, so she lived the life of a successful entrepreneur. Beautiful woman.
Her story was so touching. So she liked to ride. She liked getting on her bike, which is something very cool. I would love to do that. I remember a funny conversation that we had outside of that. We said, would a Zambian man actually allow their wife to be riding on a bike if it was, we're going to put in the context
They will
of
report
today?
you to your mother.
They'll report you
They'll
to your
call a family
mother.
meeting.
Why is she riding a bike? Women shouldn't be doing that. But she actually went and she did that. And she says she was one day, it's something that she used to do with her friend, and they went riding, and this unfortunate day, a man hit into her. And
A drunk man.
A drunk man. And she was on the floor and she had to lose her leg. The most touching part of that story was when she said she sort of saw butterflies in the moment and she couldn't believe it, and
She thought she was dead.
she thought she was dead, and she said she saw a river with rose petals,
A red river,
Yes.
her own blood. She didn't know.
and then somebody came and was trying to remove her helmet, and when they finally removed it, this she also laughed about. The person goes like, "Nimukazi," and
They couldn't believe
they
a
couldn't
woman
believe it
riding
was
a
a
bike.
woman who was riding the bike. And that's the context of what we get in today's culture. So the people in society won't believe that, they don't expect women to do things like
great
that.
things.
Even they expect that everything that's on the edge, scuba diving, bungee jumping, is
You
for
are here,
men.
Bazungu. Scuba diving, where did you get that from? Scuba diving.
All the things like that are subjected to a certain, to the males. But she was doing that, and in her story she was serious. And when that part said, she said she laughed when she was in that state. She looked at them and she laughed, and she says, yeah, like even in the moment she realized women can do it, and I've been doing it. And her story was really just touching, and her running the marathon, the London Marathon, and finishing it with her situation. She's differently abled, but she goes out there and she pursues her dreams. She speaks out for children's rights. She has the Mangala Foundation. Mwenda Foundation, and she's helping children.
996, I think.
92 children, sponsoring them. And she says she doesn't want a child to not go to school. She doesn't want children to go through early marriage. She wants young girls to experience the life to the fullest, and that for me is just so inspiring. And I'm going to jump the boat and I'm going to go to you. What did you get from Mangala's story?
Well, to borrow your words, I mean, Mangala is phenomenal.
Yeah.
In the sense that who she is even after the accident. I'm quite certain there's very few people that would pick themselves up in the way that she has. But that's Mangala for you. And that's probably why she could weather that storm in life. She's passed the test. It's not theory, it's not hypothetical. She's proven herself. Definitely larger than life, Mangala. Lives to serve other people. Isn't, floating in the air because of her success, and has no reason to look back at the less privileged.
Yeah.
It's what we need in Africa. That is the mark of leadership. When you are able to be in a comfortable place and still be able to take time and resources to be able to build other people who are less fortunate. Her accident has not, let me say, driven her into a shell and to take time to,
zone
bask
out.
in self-pity and maybe regress with her humanitarian work. She has still continued. Somebody who has taken the time to understand the challenges that rural children, rural populations face. Not that she herself was born in a rural area, no. She was born in Osaka, urban area. She had a privileged life from childhood. It could easily have been alien to her and far removed, and just not anything she should bother with. What for? But this is the wonderful human being that Mangala is.
Yeah.
Yes, it's priceless that God spared her life. And she definitely understands that the second chance that God has given her is to be able to work for Him. And I think nothing surpasses that.
Yeah.
You cannot love the God that you have not seen before you love the human beings that you see. She has clearly demonstrated that. Mangala has many achievements that are well known. Mangala Mwenda Foundation, the London Marathon, despite being differently, abled. I mean, it's just
Her persistence,
yes,
for
her
me, is
persistence.
just phenomenal.
Yes. That's Mangala for you, before and after.
And her joy, you could literally see it when we walked into her house. She was so happy. Like, I didn't even know she was differently abled at that point. She's so welcoming. She welcomed us with a smile. She was so happy, and you could feel her aura when we got to her house, and it was just awesome. Pastor J.
When Inonge,
I'm changing
go to
things up.
Please go to Inonge, because if I start, I may take all the time. So go to Inonge.
Mangala's story, I don't even know where to start, and I don't even know how to say what I need to say.
But you have to say what you need to say.
Yeah, I know that.
Performing rhymes now.
She's a childhood friend. We went to school together. You needed to have known her then, to sit and say wow, because for me she's a success story. I don't know if she even realizes it, but
she's a heroine.
Yeah, she's
not just a success story. She's a hero. She's a hero.
She's a success story, because and her story, for me, she embodies, for me, the transition from high successful to low, and being in pain and being lost and not knowing where to go. Her journey was not easy at all.
I remember her saying she had to relearn everything she knew.
Yeah, and if there's some very beautiful clips where she, she's like a storyteller. When she talks about what she went through. What struck me was where she talks about, here she is, she's living her life and doing what she normally does and giving priority to what she thinks is important, and just being walking, being herself and doing what she feels is what needs to be done, and then boom, everything changes. And that quote she gave, I remember I talked to her one time, and I was like, it's like you're walking and you're having fun, and then someone just yanks the rug from under your feet. You lose. And to quote her words, she lost what she thought was important. The things that she valued then. Now, in a different light, she realized they were not even that important. They didn't even need that much attention. And it took a long time. We walked with her. It took a long time for her to get to the place where she said she needed to redefine herself and look back, stop and say, what I was doing before, I was kind of like misplacing, effort, because I love the point where she said, now I see my children. Now I see my husband. Now I realize what is really important, and what she what she thought was important and urgent then really wasn't a big issue. So in her redefining herself, she says with age comes, wisdom. Now she has a different perspective on life. Now she doesn't fight every fight. Now she knows when to stand back and say, you know what? Put your shoes in the wrong place. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. She redefines herself and learns to say, I have to deal with the cards I have to live with the cards that I've been dealt. And she finds a new space, and you can see she's rejuvenated because she has a new love for her family. I love the way she praised her husband, the way she praised her sister, and the way she does things now, where she lets go and allows delegation, allows things to operate, and she's not a control freak she was before. And I think it's beautiful. She's found herself. It took a long time. It took that kind of pain, and it's like speaking to other people. When you get to a point where you feel all is lost, her story can teach someone that you can change. You can change your story. You can change your. She literally changed her narrative.
Yes.
Yeah, basically. She's success in itself, because there are times I would say, look, if you cried 1,000 tears today, and tomorrow you cry 964. That's success. That's progress. The main thing is, do not be stagnant. Don't be in one place. As slow and as painful as you need to go, just make sure you're shifting away from what you were the day before. As long as you're making strides away from before, it's okay.
You're making progress.
Yeah, you're making progress. So it's not about how people think, this should have happened by now, and look at her. It's about your personal journey, and we all need to understand what affects us, what we value, what we learn, and no one teaches you that. We can just support and encourage, but the rest is up to you. And she found her way. I love her because she found her way herself. We were there to help and support, but at the end of the day, she found her way.
Yes.
Yeah, she did it herself.
Yeah, and on that note, we have a couple of messages coming through. This one says, Pastor J, no 150 again.
What's that?
Okay. Pastor J has given her money. Now people are on you, Pastor J. You have to give me.
Okay, today. 150.
We only have a few minutes remaining.
150, fastest finger first. Go.
Okay, so
Let's
fastest
do it,
finger
150.
first. Fastest finger
Bible
first.
says, ask and you shall receive.
The person who sends the message in first gets a 150.
No, not the person. Yeah, the person who sends the comments first. And not just the comment, say, how are you? But the comment that really, that person gets. So?
Yeah, we have another one. This one says, Mangala's story is beautiful.
Yes.
seeing a woman run the London Marathon.
So Fastest Fingers First is on, isn't it?
Yes.
So that's on now.
But this message is before Fastest Fingers First.
So we just put it on now. So
yes.
in case the person is not watching anymore, money gone.
Okay. To hear that somebody ran the London Marathon on crutches and finished it.
And she was bleeding.
Yes.
Yeah, she
but
hurt
she
herself.
kept
She
on.
hurt herself.
Yeah.
She never stopped. How many hours was it? Over 10
She did
hours.
10 hours.
She's a miracle.
And you should see, if you watched the video,
I watched the video.
Did share it
You know,
on the Facebook page.
and she's leaning
And she
on
was
the two
crying
and they were-
through.
Yeah, and her sister is a champ. Her sister is a superstar.
Superstar.
She gave her the strength that she needed, and I love the way she says in their room
At
then
12
she
midnight,
says, "Thank
we did it."
you." Then she
cried.
bursts out and cries because it's like now she can be vulnerable because she needed to be strong for her sister when she needed it.
Yeah.
Love.
And that goes back to the support system that we keep talking about.
Yes.
You need people like that. People who are going to be strong for you, and when they are broken, you are there for them.
Yes.
And they're able to show you that side of them. And support systems are just...
Notulu has been there for her. She's now there for 992 girls. Can you imagine how many kids those 992 girls will have? Can you imagine how many communities by investing in those people? And the beautiful thing about her, she says, God gave me a second chance. And how dare me waste that second chance? That this second chance I was given wasn't for nothing. And she stood up, and on her own she's raising resources and she's doing it. And because of that also, to serve her community better, she went into politics. And she wants to stand because she realizes, I can't do so much for kids. I can do more if I'm sitting where they're making decisions.
Yes.
I can do more for my kids. I can do more for community. So that's a servant leader. She doesn't need anything in life. She can stay in the UK and she can even file for disabilities and live a better life, if you like. She has a husband that totally loves her. Why is she coming back home?
Yeah.
Yet, with her disability, she's crossing the rivers.
Yes, on a small canoe.
Not because she needs anything, because she wants to make a difference for the lives of the girls and for her community. She feels she owes her community. I don't know what you call such a person. Angel,
we should call them
miracle, we should call them Mwangala. Okay, Mwangala
It's
should
like
be
Nawina
a word.
was saying, she could have decided to be alien
Yeah.
to that side of
Yeah.
life. She didn't. She didn't need to connect.
Yeah.
She didn't need to connect.
And
She
cry and say, I don't care for anybody. What of me? Why me?
Yeah.
But every day she wakes up, she's another hero. Every single day that woman wakes up, it is fighting against everything that wants to keep her down.
Yeah.
So every day she arises is another day of a new hero being... I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Heroing.
Yeah.
Don't say hero.
I really
heroing.
like how you bring that out, Pastor J, because every day it's like Mwangala has a new challenge.
She
It's
has
not-
another reason to give up and to say,
Yeah.
I don't want.
Yeah, I don't want to stand up and go help.
So every day she gets out of that bed to make a difference in somebody's life is another day she had to say, it's not my will.
But
Selfless.
Selfless. Selfless. Absolutely selfless.
She also spoke about the time when God is silent, and that for me was big. She says there are times
You know,
when
she's coming out with a book, still standing. I can't wait to read the book. Bestseller already in my mind. Bestseller already.
Still standing. Such a,
Still
such
standing,
a nice
yes.
title. Still standing.
and she just makes reverence to God in how sometimes he'll be
Not
quiet.
even reverence to God, relationship with God. She shows you
And
that.
she was real.
Yeah,
in how
very
she
real. That's what I'm saying.
Because she said, for 3 years,
I
she
was
said
silent.
she didn't pray.
Yeah.
And she was annoyed.
Real.
She was angry with God. And I love the part where when you asked her what the accident did to her, she said it took away her joy. It took away her laughter. It made her so dependent to the point of being humiliated.
Yeah.
So now
She was so real.
yeah, so you can relate to being broken to that space.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And that being real shows how courageous. You see, that real is what most women are ashamed and afraid to be.
Yeah.
So it's actually courage to come out and say, I was totally dependent for everything. And if you're a woman, you would understand what she means.
And she also gave an example of how, we wake up in the middle of the night and want to go to the toilet. Yeah. She has to think about it. She has to prepare to do that.
She's fighting culture in her head. Culture teaches her men shouldn't see you like they see you. And then to see her husband, that's a lot of tough. And she's still standing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Read one more message. This one says, good evening, everybody. Good evening. That's it. That's all they said. Good evening to you as well. So we are glad that you're watching. And if you've been inspired by these stories, please do check out our YouTube channel. We are God Ministries TV on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscription, hit the notification bell so that you know whenever we are on. You can also follow us on Facebook. We are God Ministries Global. You can follow us, write us a DM. Go slip into a DM. Let us know what are your thoughts on these stories that we are bringing out. And this, for me, is what Africa is. We have so many stories to tell, so many untold stories that we can tell, and every person's story does matter, and it makes a difference in a person's life. Don't be afraid to show your scars. And I feel that's what Scars to Stars has brought out. Yeah. That your scars show out the beauty, the challenges that you've had. They're like war marks. I don't know if you people have watched Wakanda, Phenomenal Story. There's a culture in Africa where they used to do tattoos on people for all the victories that they won. Yes. And that sort of reminds me of all the scars that people have. It doesn't matter what you've been through. That's what makes you a hero. It's a constant reminder of that battle that you fought and won. So your scars are beautiful. You can tell your story, and we're willing to listen to them. So as we wrap it up, I'd say thank you for coming. You're such a great panel. Thank you, Pastor Jay, for being here as well. Because I just have to. I want to be like her. I want to be.
She's nice.
She's nice. Now. So when I'm nice,
she's cultured. She's all that.
She's cultured.
She's everything. You see, her voice is not. I'm very nice.
Thank you, Pastor Jay.
You see how she put her hand? That's where you should put in your hand. Not you, just be flying the boat.
You millennial, you.
See what you've done to me.
Role model, follow.
I think it's old school.
You see, you have
it's
old school. Okay. Did you get that?
Yes,
but same colors. Same colors.
Yes. in her particular style. Thank you, Pastor Jay.
You're welcome.
You're getting there.
Thank you to everybody that's watching. We also want to say thank you to everybody in transmission, Andrew in transmission, Mr. Msonda behind the camera.
Always faithful, Msonda. Awesome.
Never wants to sit on the panel, but always wants to be behind the camera.
Profile Msonda, please.
We should profile him. On that note, want to say good night to everybody. Thank you for watching, and keep it locked. Keep watching. Scars to Stars season 2 is coming. We have School of Wealth coming in.
Passing the Baton is coming. And then you have Scars to Stars season 2.
Yes.
Passing the Baton is the women coming to give us master classes. Okay. So watch out for that. Starting from anytime from the 12th of May, every woman we have profiled will come and give us. They're coming to pass the baton to the next generation, and it's part of. We're writing a book. We're compiling a book for all the women to honor them and their successes. So each woman is going to have a chapter. And each woman will be giving us a master class. And that master class is saying how I did it. Their life journey, their life story. We're hoping that in the next 100, 200 years, a Zambian daughter will read that book. An African daughter will read that book and be inspired by their words. You know, people die, but their words, writings don't die. So how do we encapsulate this message in a bottle, time capsule, for people that will live after this women? And we felt that's what we're going to do. And so each woman, by God's grace, I pray they are available, will give us a master class. So from the 12th of May, we're going to be having their master classes, each of them. We don't know in what order. It's based on their time, and they're busy women. And you would have it on CBC at the same time. So watch out for it. Back to you, boss.
Yes. And tomorrow, we will be reviewing and taking lessons from 3 very beautiful women. Dr. Nelly Kangwa, Eve Banda, and Maria Zalomes. So please do tune in tomorrow.
The Z Farmer.
The Z Farmer. So we are going to be reviewing those stories and taking lessons from them. So please do watch tomorrow. And from everyone here, good night.